list close to there. And then I'm unmuted. So it is the fifth as well as the last day of my presentation. And from the history of the last paper, I have chosen the topic major artistic and literary movements of the 20th century. So let us move ahead. Here is my personal information. And so it is the introduction that I have. See, it is the 20th century opened new vistas and possibilities that expanded everyday human experiences and greatly influenced the world of art and original painting. From the earliest years of the turn of the century, artists were beginning to experiment with subject matter, creating realities reflective more of their own inner vision than what lay before them in nature. So it says clearly that they did not follow the predecessors, or they wanted to create something new in that. So let us move ahead so we can get this kind of background of this new artists were inspired by their own self. They didn't want to follow their predecessors. These are overlapping here, but okay, that's fine. So the very first movement is the stream of consciousness. So this Virginia Woolf, a British writer, is considered very prominent writer in the field of stream of consciousness, and she is recognized a feminist writer and perhaps one of the most important writer in general of all time. Virginia Woolf used the stream of consciousness technique to great significance in her work. The novel Mrs. Dalloway follows the thoughts, experiences, and memories of several characters on a single day in London. In this passage, the title character Clarissa Dalloway watches cars driving by. So there is a dialogue that this character thinks in a kind of stream of consciousness. So by the way, this the word is was coined by William James, an American philosopher, in his book The Principles of Psychology in 1950. So it is the background, and the Virginia Woolf is the prominent writer, and another comes the Samuel Beckett. He is an absurdist as well. Used the stream of consciousness techniques in three novels. So first he published a trilogy of a novel, so in which he included this Molly, Melanie, Dice, and the Unnamable. To deliver a stream of observation and musings on time and existence, Beckett placed stream of consciousness style monologues in the mouths of many of his characters and later applied the methods. So these three are very prominent authors in this discipline, the stream of consciousness. And the third one is James Joyce, who is very much famous for his Ulysses. Ulysses is written in the golden year of literature, which is 1922. This novel tracks a single day in life of Irishman Leopold Bloom. It contains long, lengthy passages of stream of consciousness. So it is there. So these three are prominent writers in the field of stream consciousness. We are moving ahead. Second one is expressionism. So basically, what expressionism is that whatever the painters rather, it is a movement more related to painting than the poetry or literature. So So whatever this painter felt within themselves, they just didn't care about the rules and regulations. They just expressed in the way they felt. So now the very first is Edvard Munch. So Edvard Munch's own deeply original style. So his own style. So once again we come to know he's not following anybody. So his own style, own deeply original style crystallized about 1892. Munch used line not as decoration but as a vehicle for profound psychological revelation. So, as I told you, that whatever they felt within themselves, they just expressed in a same way. So, psychological revelation. So, whose psychology basically? The psychology of the painter or an author or a poet, rather. The the violent emotion and unconventional imagery of his paintings, especially, so it is the characteristics of his paintings that this violent emotion. So, violent emotion is the painting of the scream. So, the scream here is shown, this violation is shown then, and especially their daringly frank representation of sexuality created a bitter controversy. So he, if you go through his painting, then you will find some nude pictures, especially of ladies as well. So he was a kind of free person in that way. But and another is this is Kate Kollwitz. She is a was the last great practitioner of German expressionism. So basically, expressionism began in the Germany rather, and is often considered to be the foremost artist of social protest in 20th century. Her expressionistic prints, woodcuts, and sculptures empathetically portrayed human suffering, capturing the anguish and plight of the impoverished and injured in a country torn apart by armed conflict. So basically, her art was focused on the war and the aftermath of the war. So here you will find this painting. People are just hanging by this row and this laces, or it is a boundary for the country, and these people are very impoverished. They don't get food and time. And the third one is this Max Pitzstein. Max Pitzstein, a painter and printmaker, who was a leading member of the group of German expressionist artists known as Die Brücke. Well, it is in English translated as the bridge. So it was the bridge, and he was the member of a prominent member of this group. And he is best known for his paintings of nudes and landscapes. So here you will find this primitive. He was interested in primitive life or the tribal life of the people, and the way he painted everything was reflected in his painting. So here you will find a lady without clothes is there, and a man is sitting there. So it is Indian painting. So he named it is a Indian painting. So if you go through that, you will get there. And now the third one is this absurdism. So absurdism, by and large, talked about perhaps the last presenter there. So okay, so Eugene Ionesco, Romanian-born French dramatist whose tragicomic farces, and here are some okay of bourgeois life. So he wrote about the bourgeois life, the very aristocratic life he depicted in his writings, and the meaninglessness of social conventions. So, as a modernist character, they flouted the Victorian rule of believing in their predecessor and their conventional beliefs or customary belief system. So, he flouted this meaninglessness of social convention and the futile, and rather he supported and he flouted the beliefs of this previous era. And now the meaningless, his paintings or the writings are focused on mainly in the meaninglessness of social conventions and the futile and mechanical nature of modern civilization. So why it was futile? As we have this Albert Camus, the myth of Sisyphus. So it is shown in this that it was the futile and mechanical condition. Then you have to wake up on this particular time. Then you will have to go to bed this particular time. So there was no freedom, a personal freedom, and his plays built on bizarrely illogical or fantastic situation using such devices as the humorous multiplication of objects on stage until they overwhelm the actors. So it is about his style of writing the plays. And second one is the very famous or the consider the father of this, who is also considered as the father of this absurdism, Albert Camus, in his influential philosophical essay Limit de Sisyphe, or in English the Myth of Sisyphus, in which he with considerably sympathy analyzed contemporary nihilism and a sense of the absurd. So nihilism, how he considered nihilism, and everything he described in his play, rather essay, his writings, which addressed themselves mainly to the isolation of a man in an alien universe. So we come to know about this Fyodor Dostoevsky, Crime and Punishment, he wrote. So there is an alienation is shown by the rather represented by the character of Raskolnikov. So he was also an absurdist, and here the Albert Camus is doing the same in his writings. The estrangement of individual from himself. the problem of evil and the press. So the problem of evil. So suppose people become aware that there is no God, they realize, then there is a chance to there is a chance for them to become evil. That they will get to know that there is nothing who can govern us, and so that let us do whatever the way we want to do. So it is the problem of evil, and the pressing finality of death accurately reflected the alienation and disillusionment for post-war intellectual. So after war, so after especially the Second World War, there was a kind of, you can say, a tediousness between people, that they didn't want to talk to each other. They just wanted to sit in a lonely place, and it was like that. So he depicted this alienation from people to people. And third one is Franz Kafka. We all are aware of this famous philosopher, that Franz Kafka's stories and novels have provoked a wealth of interpretation. So it is not so that anyone metamorphosis there. And this trial is there. If you read them, then you will find, okay, there are many layers of interpretation open for the readers or the critics to define accordingly. So Franz Kafka's stories and novels has provoked a wealth of interpretations. Well, Brood and Kafka's first English translators, Edwin Muir and his wife, Villa, viewed that the novels as allegories of divine grace. So these two people, Edwin Muir and his wife Villa, viewed his Franz Kafka's novel as allegories of divine grace. So they perhaps might have believed that, okay, this whatever Franz Kafka is writing, it is coming from the divine intuition. And existentialists have seen Kafka's environment of guilt and despair as the ground upon which to construct an authentic existence. Some have found an imaginative anticipation of totalitarianism in the random and the faceless bureaucratic terror of the trial. So the trial is a work by him. So here you will find a person without any reason, or rather without being told that offense, that he caught up by the police, and he is never get released, and he dies at the last. So it was about absurdism. So it depicted the absurdity of life. So how life is absurd. There is no God. If there is no God, then how will you find the things? So it is there, and how will you arrange your life accordingly? And now the fourth one is the name got evaporated. Okay, so it is surrealism. Surrealism was also good, very well movement, and it was also dealt with by Mayuri. So an original member of the Dada group, Andre Breton, founded and led the surrealist movement. So he belonged to both the groups, the Dadaism that we will discuss in the further slides, and another is surrealistic movement in 1924. Introducing the notion of intuitive art. So intuitive art or individualism, it is at the base of this modernist culture. And automatism is also dealt with very well by Mayuri. That automatism is whatever you are having within yourself, you will just automatically pour out in the paper or on the canvas while you are painting and writing the poetry. In his surrealistic manifesto, so he wrote a work, Surrealistic Manifesto. He defined the movement as psychic automatism in its pure state. So there is no kind of distortion while thinking or while writing what you are felt, what you have felt. So it is the pure real. So what is there will be depicted through as it is, which one proposes to express verbally by means of the written word or in any other manner. So verbally means to giving speech, and by the means of word means to giving providing through the writing. The actual function of thought. Britain believed in the future resolution of dream and reality into surreality. So the reality of he regarded as absolute. So basically, what surrealism is, that surrealism is this combination of imagination plus reality, as it was dealt with the unconscious plus conscious. So, and the second famous author or a painter is that celebrated Belgian surrealism painter Jean Magritte. Created works that are beautiful in their clarity and simplicity. So he focused only the beautiful aesthetic aspect of this world, or the beauty and the simplicity, but also provoke unsettling thoughts. So it is not so that he only provided this kind of simple things, but he also provided something that could provoke thoughts, unsettling thoughts, that they will startle you, startle you to think the things. He described his work as, so he himself describes his work as the visible images that conceal nothing. So there is nothing behind it. There is nothing to read between the lines. So he's whatever was there, he puts as it is in simple manner. So as we saw that conceal nothing, but evoke mystery. So there is something mysterious, as we know that. Okay, so suppose somebody tells, okay, so who you are, and we just tell them, okay, we are just this, but why you are just this? Then the question becomes mysterious. Okay. Now, suppose like this absurdist tell that, okay, there is, or rather existentialist, rather this Friedrich Nietzsche is there, and Soren, they will tell, okay, if there is no God, okay, there is no God, we just believe that. but who this what is the cause behind this reason that suppose making you the thinking the things, right? So what is the thing behind this creation? So yet we are not aware of that, and the concept of God comes when we do not know anything. So we want to fill this gap because we are afraid of this gap. So we put God in the place because we do not know the real thing, what is there, and we even so it is the spirituality. If you strive to find the thing, so it is the spirituality, right? So now it was the another topic though. Now the third one is Salvador Dali. So it is very famous, Salvador Dali, and renowned for his flamboyant personality. He was a flamboyant. That he wanted to do whatever the whatever the society told him not to do. So he was a flamboyant, and you just go through his picture will tell you much of his personality and his photos rather, as well as the painting made by him. A technical virtuosity. Salvador Dali is best known for his passion, painterly output, despite being formally expelled from the surrealist group in 1934 for his reactionary political views. He is today most often associated with this movement, basing his surrealism artworks on Freudian theory. So his artistic or his artworks were concerned with this Freudian theory. Sigmund Freud provided the theory. Dali aimed to create a formal and visual language in his studio that could render his dreams and hallucination. So yeah, the dream and hallucination both are there in his painting as well as the act of tapping into the unconscious. He described as critical paranoia, obsessed with themes of eroticism that the paintings that arouse the erotic feelings or Saturnalian kind of things, death and decay. He is famous for employing ready interpreted symbolism encompassing fetishes, animal imagery, and religious symbol in his art. So it was about this surrealistic movement. And the last one is, or the fifth one is Dadaism. So Dadaism was there was no a kind of a certain history that how the word became came into existence, but some people are guessing it is the name of the boy, and it was just like its characteristic. There is no meaning at all. So the founder is the Hugo Ball. Hugo Ball's major contribution as leader and co-founder, along with his girlfriend, cabaret performer Emmy. So cabaret is a kind of performing art. Emmy Hennings of the Dada movement was to articulate the collective's radical nihilistic and iconoclastic ideology. So basically, what was there in the base of this Dadaism movement? So there was nihilism first and iconoclastic ideology. So Ball's sound poems such as Caravane and Katzen and Perform exemplified Dada's ironic, nonsensical, and playful. So these are the characteristics of Dadaism. That they are ironic, they are satirical in nature, and they are nonsensical. So if you there is no linear thing. So there are all the things are splattered around, and playful yet deadly serious critic of Western culture. So he was a Western culture critic. And now the second name is very famous, the Tristan Zara. Yeah, it is Tristan Zara, not Tristan Zara. Tristan Zara, a Romanian-born French poet and essayist known mainly as the founder of Dada. So along with this Hugo Ball, he founded this movement, a nihilistic revolutionary. So nihilism will always be there when the term comes of Dadaism. Revolutionary movement in the arts, the purpose of which was the demolition of all the values of modern civilization. So here again, you will find the characteristic of the demolition of the this aroused by this modern value as well. He wrote the first Dada text. So first we find okay, see, the modernist authors or the painters were demolishing the values of their predecessors, the Victorians. But now why he is demolishing his own age's values, that modern civilization, right? So he was against as well as this. He wrote the first Dada text, La Premiere Avanta Celeste, the Monza Anipete. So it is translated as the first heavenly adventure of Mr. Antipyrine. And so here are some works of him. So Tristan Zara. And third one we all are aware of, that is the Marcel Duchamp, a French artist who broke down the boundaries between work of art and everyday objects. So generally you will find, no, but here it becomes some kind of problematic thing that this art in the everyday life is also connected, though, but here it's the objects. See, the urinal titled Fountain he sent to the first exhibition of the Society of Independent Artists in 1970. Although he was a founder member of this society, he had signed the work Armor. So he coined a kind of sham, or you can say a false term, to hide his identity, that who has created this kind of artwork. So he, instead of putting his own name, own real name, he put this Armor. And theater, therefore it was refused. In Paris in 1919, he stayed with Picabia and established contact with the first Dada group. This was the occasion of his most famous ready-made a photograph of the Mona Lisa with the mustache. So it is quite interesting thing. So Mona Lisa was painted by the Da Vinci, ancient painter, and as well as this anatomist. But here what did they do? This group. Dada group, that they painted mustache and the kind of a beard kind of thing in on the painting of Mona Lisa. So I hope you all are aware of this Mona Lisa painting, right? Yeah. So it is there, and that Dada is the scorn for the art of the past, which in their eyes was part of the infamy of a civilization that had produced the horrors of the war just ended. So why? What was the reason behind this? They are doing like this. They were flaunting their values of the past because they thought that yeah, this infamy of a civilization that had produced the horrors of the war just ended. So just because of their ideology in the past, the war was there. That is why they were breaking the rules. Okay, so some problem occurred here. So after the conclusion was there, and after that references were there, that is fine. So I will conclude that okay, all these movements were they were not inspired like the others we saw. They were genuine movements. They were emerged out of the individual thoughts rather than the collective thoughts uh, in particular, we can say. So it was all about this five. There are many like avant-garde movement is there, and this. So there are many movements. These five are very much a major movement. So it was my presentation today, and thank you so much. Hold on.
So my question is, what does streams of consciousness means in psychology?
Yes, so a stream of consciousness. So let us go to the word first. So stream means a kind of water that flowing. In other simple words, stream of consciousness. So we are conscious, right? We are not staying at the same place, or our thoughts are not staying at the same place. So it is that is why our thoughts are changing by moment, not by second, but the very minute moments. So that is why it is called stream of consciousness. So our thoughts and our experiences are moving in a way, in a flow. So that is why, and they, as well as depicted in the novels by Virginia Woolf, that you will find there is no linearity in the dialogues. Whatever suppose she is talking about this cat, now she in Mrs. Dalloway, she jumps about out of the window and she talks about the pollution around. So it is there, the stream that flows, right? Satisfied or something else? Thank you.
Nirav, in your PPT there are many movements. According to you, which movement are very important for art and literature?
So, so I think by and large, every moment that we discussed rather, right. So everything is very important for the art, but rather this surrealism very much important. I consider, uh, or rather expressionism more than surrealism. I consider this expressionism because it depicts the reality as it is. There is no distortion, no any kind of you can say promiscuity, changes made in the describing the things or the experience that are felt by the author. Okay, so somebody else. Okay, thank you.